Good day to everyone. Today I will be discussing about GMO or genetically modified organisms. I am hoping that everyone will pay attention so that at the end of this topic, we will all be able to recognize the value of GMOs. In order for us to have a better understanding of the subject matter, I will be discussing its definition, history, safety, sample of approved commercial products with GMO, potential GMO applications, and the risks and controversies surrounding the use of GMO. Definition: GMO stands for genetically modified organism. Let's break it down word by word. Genetically refers to genes. Genes are made up of DNA, which is a set of instructions for how cells grow and develop. Second is modified. This implies that some change or tweak has been made. Lastly, we have the word organism. Organism refers to all living things, including plants, animals, bacteria, and viruses. With that in mind, GMOs are living beings that have had their genetic code changed in some way. For example, bacteria have been genetically modified to produce medicines that can cure diseases or vaccines that prevent them. A commonly used medicine that comes from a genetically modified source is insulin, which is used to treat diabetes, but there are many others. History: a timeline of genetic modification. For thousands of years, people have worked to improve crops, livestock, and the foods we eat. In the 20th century, scientists found a way to modify food faster and more precisely by changing an organism's DNA. This process, called genetic engineering, produces genetically modified organisms or GMOs. This timeline highlights key dates in the development of GMO. 1940. Plant breeders learned to use radiation or chemicals to randomly change an organism's DNA. 1953. Building on the discoveries of chemists and scientists identified the structure of DNA. 1973. Biochemists developed genetic engineering by inserting DNA from one bacteria into another. 1982. FDA approves the first consumer GMO product, that is human insulin to treat diabetes. 1986. The federal government establishes the coordinated framework for the regulation of biotechnology to regulate the safety of GMOs. 1992. FDA policy states that foods from GMO plants must meet the same requirements as food derived from traditionally bred plants. 1994. The first GMO produce created through genetic engineering, a GMO tomato, becomes available for sale. 1990s. The first wave of GMO produce created through genetic engineering becomes available to consumers. 2003. The World Health Organization and the Food and Agriculture Organization developed international guidelines and standards to determine the safety of GMO foods. 2005. GMO alfalfa and sugar beets are available for sale. 2015. FDA approves an application for the first genetic modification in an animal for use as food, a salmon. 2016. Congress passes a law requiring labeling for some foods produced through genetic engineering and uses the term bioengineering. 2017. GMO apples are available for sale. 2019. FDA completes consultation on first food from a genome-edited plant. Safety. GMOs are relatively new, and one area that draws a lot of attention is whether these GMO plants and the foods that contain them are safe. There is no data to indicate that consumption of GMOs is bad for human health. The National Academy for Science, the United States' #1 source for independent, objective advice to the nation on matters of science and technology, concluded that GMOs are safe for human health. The same conclusion has been reached by a large number of prestigious health and science organizations from around the world. In addition, over the 2 decades that GMOs have been on the market, there have been no occurrences of health issues due to genetically modified organisms. As GMOs stand today, there are no health benefits to eating them over non-GMO foods. However, this may change in the future as technology develops and becomes more sophisticated. Sample of approved commercial products with GMO. Corn. Genetically modified corn turns up in many different products. This crop is used to produce many different ingredients used in processed foods and drinks, including corn syrup and cornstarch. But the bulk of the GM corn grown around the world is used to feed livestock. Soybeans. GM soy is used primarily in animal feed and in soybean oil, which is widely used for processed foods and in restaurant chains. It's also often used to make an emulsifier called soy lecithin, which is present in dark chocolate bars and candies. Cotton. Much of GM cotton is turned into cottonseed oil, which is used for frying and packaged foods like potato chips, as well as oily spreads like margarine. Some parts of the plant are also used in animal feed, and what is left over can be used to create food fillers such as cellulose. Potatoes. The very recently approved GM potatoes are resistant to bruising and may produce less of a cancer-causing chemical called acrylamide when exposed to high heat. Papaya. These genetically engineered papayas are bred to withstand the ring spot virus, which can destroy papaya plants, and much of the yield is grown in Hawaii. Squash. Canola. GM canola is used to make oil for cooking as well as margarine. It's also used to produce emulsifiers that are used in packaged foods. Alfalfa. GM alfalfa contains a gene making it resistant to herbicide, and it is used mainly as hay for cattle. Apples. Another newly approved crop. This apple from a biotech company does not brown even after it has been sliced. FDA said it is safe to eat, which means they may appear on supermarket shelves. Sugar beets. More than half the granulated sugar in the US comes from GM sugar beets. Potential GMO applications. Many industries stand to benefit from additional GMO research. For instance, a number of microorganisms are being considered as future clean fuel producers. In addition, genetically modified plants may someday be used to produce vaccines, a possible solution to the spread of disease in underdeveloped countries, one that would greatly reduce the costs associated with conducting vaccination campaigns. Work is currently underway to develop plant-derived vaccine candidates in potatoes and lettuce for hepatitis B virus and other viruses. Scientists are also looking into production of other commercially valuable proteins in plants that are used in surgery or tissue replacement. Genetically modified animals have even been used to grow plant tissues and human transplant organs, a concept called xenotransplantation. The rich variety of uses for GMOs provide a number of valuable benefits to humans, but many people also worry about potential Risks and controversies surrounding the use of GMO. Despite the fact that the genes being transferred occur naturally in other species, there are unknown consequences to altering the natural state of an organism through foreign gene expression. After all, such alterations can change the organism's metabolism, growth rate, and response to external environmental factors. These consequences influence not only the GMO itself, but also the natural environment in which that organism is allowed to grow. Potential health risks to humans include the possibility of exposure to new allergens in genetically modified foods. Horizontal gene transfer would not only put humans at risk, but it would also cause ecological imbalances, promoting the spread of disease among both plants and animals. In contrast, the alarming consequences of vertical gene transfer between GMOs and their wild-type counterparts led to a reduction in the viability of their offspring.